Let's combat and fight back with maltracks. The war of the minds, they want control of the masses. And Common Core, they dumb us down in the classes. Without knowledge, we can't gain access. Build with the elders, take notes and write classes. We keep whining on the block, how it's gonna stop? Let's start supporting our own, make their supply drop. We buy stocks, then we buy blocks. Cause we know the truth and we tuned in to Dr. Maat.
A BB Fahode, a BB Tuni, peace to all of my thinkers, truth speakers, and truth seekers. Welcome to another Truth to Power Talk with your sister, Dr. Maat. Thank you for joining another powerful discussion. And tonight I have with me another powerful guest, Brother Kenneth Zaki. How are you doing tonight, King?
I'm well, thank you very much, sis, and thank you for the invitation.
Hey, no problem. Thank you for coming out. You know, it's such a short notice. I called you literally like Wednesday or Thursday and said, can you come on Saturday? You said, let me check my schedule. And you checked your schedule and you text me back and you said, sure, you know, I'll come on. Family, I reached out to this brother. He is one of the co-founders of Comedic Asen Fraternity, which was founded in Morehouse at Morehouse College. Was it what year was it, Brother Kenneth? What year?
1987. Kemet Asen.
Kemet Asen.
1987.
Yes, and this is the first African fraternity in the U.S. Is that clear? Is that true?
Yes, ma'am.
See, and so family, if you all have been listening to the shows and the discussions that I've been having, I often talk about, you know, reforming the HBCU curriculum and even restructuring and you know, reforming, I guess you would say, our fraternities and our sororities. I just had a powerful discussion with the brother. His name is Dr. James Holly out of the University of Michigan. And he came on a few months ago and we talked about reforming the HBCU curriculum. And during that discussion, we talked about Black Greeks and how a lot of these fraternities and sororities aren't rooted in our history, our culture, and our tradition. So tonight, family, I'm going to be talking with Brother Kenneth Zaki about Comedic Asen fraternity. And I'm going to be talking about the identity crisis of Black Greeks. And yes, I'm going to say it. And I've been saying this for a while. Black Greeks, in my opinion, maintain and perpetuate the already existing identity crisis that's within the Black community. Literally, you have Black people on college campuses wearing Greek letters, getting Greek letters branded on their bodies, adopting names, calling themselves Greeks. And I think that it's just, I mean, it just proves that we do suffer from an identity crisis, you know. And so Brother Kenneth, I know I did do a little bit of research, and I know that Alpha Phi Alpha was the first fraternity. It was founded in the early 1900s at Cornell University, and then you had the AKAs. That was the first sorority that was founded at Howard University. But when they established these fraternities and these sororities, well, they were established first and foremost because the white folks didn't allow us to join their fraternities and sororities. And so Black people said, well, I'll go start my own. And while Brother Kenneth, I think that that's great that we said, okay, we'll start our own. We should have, when we established our own fraternities and sororities, it should have been anchored or rooted or centered in our traditions and culture. And so let me ask you this, Brother Kenneth, do you feel like, do you agree that with a Black person calling themselves a Black Greek, do you agree that that's some sort of identity crisis?
I do agree with that. I mean, because it's like an oxymoron, you know. I mean, you know, it's like Black Irish, you know, like a fighting Irish and all that stuff. I mean, you know, I mean, you Black, and it's like Malcolm X said, if you say you from Bahamas, you say you from Nigeria, you say you from South Carolina, you Black, they ain't gonna look at you from no geography or anything else. They're gonna look at you as a nigga.
Come on, let's talk about it.
I mean, and so you know, like, you know, you can say all those things, but at the end of the day, if you say you're Greek or you're Irish or anything other than Black, I mean, you know, it's like something wrong with that. What's wrong with us claiming our own identity? We got some folks talking about you got 3/5 of blood black blood, you black. You know, to justify a lot of injustices. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so you know, when it's convenient, it's all right. But you know, for me, I'm just proud to be black. You know, I may have some people may take more pride in saying, "Hey, I got more Indian in me," and all that stuff I've been hearing since I grew up. You know, but at the end of the day, my sister, I don't mean to give you a long answer for a
No,
short
no, no.
question,
Talk. Yeah, yeah.
but
No, go. Mm-hmm.
you know, that's why I became a member of Kemet. That's why Kemet was started out of that same spirit. You
Mm-hmm.
know, I get to Morehouse. I'm all eager to be in that beautiful black cottage, that black institute for black men, and all the things that, you know, I've heard over the years. I've known people I've actually known that inspired me to go to Morehouse. And then, you know, to get there and I want to see the year syllabus, and have a statement on there say Greek week. Greek week, you know, and there go that word again, Greek.
Right. Greek.
So
Right.
I
Come
ain't the
on.
most intelligent person in the world, but I'm just trying to figure out what's all this affinity for Greeks, you know. And then, like, one of the most popular books on campus, one of the most popular underground books for the most part, other than our black psychology classes, this book wasn't really mentioned in the classes, but it was A Stolen Legacy by George M. James,
Yes.
which on the cover he says that the ancient Greek philosophy is actually stolen from the ancient African mystery system. And a lot of us who are reading that book, we say, hey, wait a minute, Greek week? We knew it had to be something better. And so myself and 9 other brothers, we came together, we came up with a plan of action. We sought out us some elders because we knew we couldn't do anything without no elders
Come on.
counseling us, guiding us. And we sought out us 4 elders, and one of which of them was a sister, our elder sister, who
Wow.
played a significant role because we understood the significance of the queen.
Come on. You better
And
talk
so
about
that
it,
right
Brother
there is
Kenneth.
what gave birth to Kemet Asen, our brotherhood. We had like people steering us, elders and wisdom. Our thing was planned from from the time we started to the time we ended. It was along the nature cycles of nature.
Come on.
When we came above ground and was presented to the world, it was what they call springtime. When the flowers were coming back, were blooming, when the earth was giving back vegetation. That's when we came back and the people knew about these brothers. Our whole thing was in accord with nature. It wasn't happenstance.
Mm,
It was bigger than all of us.
mm,
And it's
mm,
bigger than all of us today. You know,
mm.
I'm just happy. I was in Cleveland, Ohio, my hometown. I was just interrupted at age 26 years old, long out of high school. I thought I was going back to college. I was going back to Atlanta to go to college, but I was going back to Atlanta to become a founding member of Kemet Asen.
Mm.
I know it. I know it.
Brother Kenneth, let me show the people what we're talking about because you sent me some beautiful images. And so this is an article, family, that you're looking at. Right here, it says members of Kemet from left to right. Um, so you have this is the article. It says new Morehouse fraternity is based on African customs and traditions. All right, so this is an article. Then you have this right here. The English Club presents a dialogue. So there was some dialogue that happened with Kemet Asen. It says the first African fraternity in the US. So that was a flyer. And these are some pictures of our brothers, you know, brotherhood. And look what they have. Look at what they have. The pyramids behind them, KMT, the brotherhood of Kemet Asen. So look at this. I mean, repping. And this is a picture.
That was at the Million Man
Million
March.
Man. Yes. So this is, yep, you sent me this. So
That
this
was an official Million Man March book.
beautiful. Beautiful. And then you sent me this one right here.
That's some brothers at a gathering of one of our what we call national gatherings, where like brothers come together from all different towns all over the country, and we come together and we powwow to talk about our next moves.
Love it. Love it. And then could you explain what this is right here? I think
That is the brothers carrying what we call tet. That is a tree that the brothers had to go and select and cut for their final ritual when they were presented to the community. And that tree, which we call tet, represents them carrying the load of their community.
Mm.
And it's not light.
Mm.
That is the final ritual before they rejoin the community. And they walk for about a mile, and the community follow them. Sisters follow them, brothers follow them. Some of their parents be out there, relatives, friends, and just follow them. We do a final ritual for them and present them to their community. And then their newness.
Beautiful. And this is another picture that I saw on the net, and I asked you, I said, are these your people? And you said, yeah, these are my folks right here.
Yeah, and we call that the Zulu formation. And that's brothers' call to action, readiness.
And so
every morning, brothers would come together before the sun goes up as they're going through their initiation, and they would meet like somewhere like in an open field, and they would raise both of their hands up like in a U, and we call that the Ka, and they're welcoming the new day and calling on the Most High to bless them.
Beautiful. So you said that, and while you're describing these things, I hear African tradition and customs. You know, yes. I hear African names. The Zulu. You said the log carrying the load of the community. You know, yes. And you mentioned being in tune with nature. You mentioned having a council of elders. You mentioned including the Queen Mother. And so, you know, your fraternity is this fraternity, Kemet Asen, is definitely rooted in African tradition and customs. And see, this needs to be replicated at every HBCU. Now, let me ask you a question, Brother Kenneth, and I'm gonna stop sharing my screen. Let me ask you this. To get into you, and I know you can't tell all the stuff that you all do to get in and all the rituals, but can you at least tell us this? Did the brothers have to do degrading things to be a part of your fraternity? So what I mean by that is, you know, somebody getting bent over and beat with a paddle.
The answer is an emphatic no.
Thank you. Thank you.
That was another thing that turned that attracted brothers to us. And that's what attracted us to create our own. It's a dignified thing. How could we haze and do those type of things when we have a Queen Mother?
Come on, let's talk about it, brother.
That's an insult to her. I mean, we had a Queen Mother. We had 4 elders. Amongst them was a queen. And they discussed things. We didn't make decisions by ourselves. We were given direction. And this right here was the foundation of our Asen, our brotherhood. That direction that we received from those 4 elders, which include a Queen Mother. And that Queen Mother balanced things out. Ain't no way we could insult someone or degrade someone to have them in our brotherhood. Our motto was the mission is love, and love is all encompassing.
Because let me tell you why I asked that, and I already figured that you all didn't, right? Because you said rooted in tradition and customs. But I teach, for those who they know that who are on the show. Well, people who come on the show and people in the chat, they know I teach over at Morgan, and some students, I remember they suspended a particular fraternity. I won't put the name out there, but they suspended an entire line because one of the students, they end up beating him so bad that they broke his arm. And so he ended up going to the hospital, and initially he didn't want to tell his parents that he was pledging and that those brothers, they beat him down and broke his arm. But eventually he had to tell his parents, because his parents were like, what's going on? How did this happen to you? So he ended up, sharing with his parents what happened. And so Morgan ended up suspending the entire line. I've also heard stories from people who are in those fraternities at Morgan, some of my students, and I won't name their names, but they shared with me that they make them do the most degenerate things. And some stuff I wouldn't even want to repeat, because I know my mother's watching, some of the elders watch some very, very degenerate degenerate things that we would say your manhood got violated. Those types of degenerate things to get into these fraternities. And I remember having a conversation with my son Isaiah, who's at Howard, and I told him, he was telling me all of his friends were pledging, and I told him he better not pledge. And he was solid. He was solid in who he is before he even went to Howard. And so he said he wasn't going to pledge, but I kept on telling him, I said, why do you feel like it's okay for somebody to degrade you so that you could be a part of something? Because then you're no different than the gangs. So if we're, you just in academia, so you're no different than the Bloods and the Crips who beat you in, or some of these gangs who they end up gang raping the girls in and all of that stuff. You're no different than that, so you're no different than that. So you look down at, the gangs in the streets, but you all are doing the same behavior. You're just not in the streets.
That's right. That's right.
Just in academia.
That's right. It's the degradation. I don't think if you're trying to lift anyone else, you don't have to put them down to lift them up, and that's like that. It's a mentality. It's a tradition. It's part of the Eurocentric thing.
Thank you.
That's what it is. I mean, it's like that military thing, the way they had to condition people to be soldiers and stuff. That's why I was never attracted to the military, particularly during the time I was coming up. To have some white person in my face degrading me and talking about me and stuff, I know I would have probably died there. I would have probably died, because I know. Anyway, make long story short, says what you're saying is that was another thing that attracted brothers towards our brotherhood. I don't want to sit here and tell you that it was all fairy tales. I mean, it was all smooth sailing, because it wasn't. Our putting together that brotherhood, I can honestly tell you that I know we have we helped at least 500 brothers. We had a strong membership during the tenure when we were going strong, and out there we had at least 500 brothers at Howard, all over the AU Center, and Nashville, and a few other cities. We had what we call gnomes, chapters. And so like what happened, like what you were mentioning, says at one point, when we were at Morehouse and stuff, we were never really welcome at Morehouse. We were founded on Morehouse College campus, but we were never welcome there. All the administrators, I mean, when they found out who we truly were, I mean, that we wasn't like the alphas, or we weren't the Qs, or we weren't the other fraternities. See, like in our early days, that picture that you showed, that we were in what I call the Zulu formation, when we were on all black and had our heads shaved, they didn't know what to make out of us. They knew we was a fraternity. They didn't know we was alphas or whatnot, unless the alphas told them, but they didn't know what to make out of us. But then when they found out, when we had our initiations and stuff, we did our community ritual, which we was holding a tree and stuff, they knew it was something different. And see, even administrators and stuff, all of them have Greek backgrounds. They come from Greek letters. So that we wasn't no turn on to them. We had to have meetings and stuff with the president and his office wanted us to cease and desist. But we kept going and stuff. And we went for like 3 or 4 years strong at Morehouse, despite, the opposition. And then the thing that really made us wane off was just like what you were talking about, those other fraternities getting into trouble where they were banned. And at one point, this was something that was going on throughout the country, where they were banning fraternities, and any kind of fraternity wasn't attractive on campuses at one point. We wasn't popular as it was, because we wasn't doing step shows. We wasn't stepping or anything. We were doing a lot of community service. We were doing community service around the Morehouse and Spelman campus with the people that lived in the housing projects. We would find activities for the youth. We go clean up the housing projects. We do things around there. But we wasn't doing step shows and stuff. We wasn't doing that stuff.
So you mean you weren't doing a...
We wasn't doing that. No, ma'am.
Okay.
We wasn't doing that. We were pretty low key, we go through the community and we do our thing, just clean up, work with the children after school. We established an after school program. We started a rites of passage, an organization called a Kente. A Kente is the opener of the way. And we worked with
Mm,
young men, and we did that in several cities. And so that's what we were. Our concentration was community service.
mm, mm. And I'm not surprised listening to you. I'm not surprised, Brother Kenneth, that you all got pushback from the Morehouse administration for starting a fraternity that was African centered, because you were dealing with the Negro peons, because there's a lot of Negro peons who are running these HBCUs. There's a lot of Negro peons out there who are running, these black skinned Europeans, and so I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised at all. Let me share something with you. A few years back, there was a student who came to me. She was and the chat will probably have to help me out. You know how with the bands, it's the females who are twirling in the front. When the bands are playing, I forgot what their names are. Someone in the chat help me out. But these are the women who are in the front and they're dancing and they got the tights on. And so
Majorettes.
majorettes, thank you, the majorettes. And so the majorettes, one of them, she took me about 2 or 3 years ago. She was one of my engineering students, and I remember seeing her at a show, practice and seeing her at shows. And she, like I said, she was one of my students. And one day she came to class and she had a beautiful afro, Brother Kenneth. And so I asked her, I said, and I don't want to say your name, but come over, let me talk to you. I said, you have beautiful hair. Why do you wear, the long tracks, sometimes blonde, sometimes black? You have beautiful hair. And she said to me, she said, Doc, the reason I wear these tracks is because when we have to perform, they tell us that for uniformity purposes, all of us have to wear tracks. We have to wear fake hair. You would think that at a daggone HBCU, that black women could be comfortable in their skin, comfortable in their natural hair, and that maybe uniformity could have been an afro. They didn't have to say, let's wear long blonde tracks or long black tracks or weaves. They could have said, okay, well, if you don't have natural hair, let's make it all a puff, or you get an afro wig or some wig that looks like it could be a natural hairdo of some sort. But she told me that the administration told them that they had to wear weaves for uniformity purposes. So again, you have these Negro peons who are running these HBCUs and they don't want to be African. That's just the reality. These people are anti-African. And so they don't want you to wear your natural hair. A lot of them, they don't want you to start fraternities and sororities and other organizations that are African-centered. Hell, they hardly want to teach African-centered courses. I mean, people, Dr. Leonard Jeffries and people of that sort, they had to fight to get African, oh my goodness, it's not African diaspora. I think it's African diaspora studies, Dr. Leonard Jeffries, and a lot of them, they had to fight just so we could get that declared as a major, to have an African history studies program. So these people are anti-African, Brother Kenneth. So again, I'm not surprised that you all went to war with the Morehouse administration.
Yes, and some sister, see, it was several things that was taking place during the time of Kemet's inception. Number one, it came off the heels of the Nile Valley Conference. There was a big thing that took place at Morehouse College in 1984 when Sheikh Anta Diop was invited there. And there was a lot of people there, including Dr. Asa Hilliard, the organization ASCAC, and a whole lot of other significant Black organizations at that time took place. And there was a lot of great things coming out of that Nile Valley Conference that took place at Morehouse College. As a result of that, now they got an offer list, right outside the Morehouse Chapel. It's beautiful, but that right there was born from that 1984 Nile Valley Conference that was held in Atlanta. And scholars from all over the world came there to hear Dr. Sheikh Anta Diop and those other luminaries and scholars. And so that was the vibe. That's what was happening, that was taking place in Atlanta and the AU Center, and particularly at Morehouse. And that right there was a watering hole for people like Dr. Asa Hilliard and a lot of other scholars. And they were like really imposing their will and the think tank onto that environment. And it was a lot of students who had latched onto that. ASCAC, Association for the Study of Classic and African Civilizations, they had some strong footprints and fingerprints throughout the AU Center. And it was a big yearning and a lot of great opportunities to wrap ourselves around our culture and the ancient Kemet. I mean, it was infectious, the environment that was taking place, that was going on at that time. Also, during that time, we had an explosion of all the T-shirts. I mean, people was walking around like human billboards. You see? You know I'm talking about, like born in Africa, imported from Africa. You know, all those strong messages we had. That's what we were wearing during that time. People was competing to see who had the most conscious T-shirt. Back then, during campus, Spike Lee was filming the film. It was about the college thing with Lawrence Fishburne. School's Day was being filmed. It was so much. Brothers and sisters are breaking out into African attire and stuff. I mean, there's more and more brothers and sisters traveling to Africa during that time. And so, like, when Kemet came around, it was like right in the cusp of all of that when that organization came. Also, one thing that's important for me to mention is the year after Kemet was established, it was some sisters at Spelman that established a sisterhood called Asen, which was a sisterhood to Kemet Asen.
Yes. Let me see if I could find some pictures of those sisters. So you said they were called Asen.
I can put you on, when we're offline, I can put you in touch with a few of them.
Sorority. Yep. Aset sorority.
Aset.
Yep. Daughters of Aset. That's right. Daughters of Aset Sorority Incorporated.
Yes.
Yes.
I can put you in touch with. I can put you in touch with some of them.
Yes, please do, because I want to get those sisters on the platform, you know, and have a conversation with them, and then maybe bring, you know, the everyone together, and we have a beautiful build on that. So that's beautiful. So once the brothers got it started, the sisters said, "Oh yeah, we're going to start our own thing," and so they end up doing that at Spelman. Let me ask you this: who brought Sheikh Anta-Diop and all of the other? Who brought them in? What made them have the Conference of the Nile there at Morehouse? Who brought them in? Was it?
Well, the dean of the chapel, Dr. Lawrence Carter, he is a very progressive. He's a very progressive scholar, and like he's a comrade of Dr. Asa Hilliard, and I think Dr. Hilliard had a strong influence on that. Okay, and the ASCAC, like Obadiah Williams, Dr. John Henry Clark. All of them would convene. I think all of them had an influence on that. But I think the person who made a lot of things accessible on the Morehouse campus was Dean Lawrence Carter, the dean of the Morehouse Chapel. Okay, so he made it happen. But like you said, Asa Hilliard, Dr. John Henry Clark, said Dr. Ben, Dr. Diop, all of them kind of, they all, so everybody, Okay, so they all made it happen. Yes, ma'am, and it's documented too. You can look it up. The 1984 Nile Valley Conference. Okay, and you said it was out of that spirit and what was going on at the time. So Spike Lee was dropping different films, Do the Right Thing, School Days, you know, Malcolm X, Jungle Fever. This is when, you know, 40 Acres and a Mule were really, the Cosby Show, you know, A Different World. That was the type of vibe, you know, that was going on back then. You know, a lot of us is really proud of who we are. You know, we're proud of like unpeeling some of those layers. You know, even in pop culture, it was just really embracing. Yeah, the music, like you said, the music back then, you're talking about Brand Nubian, shout out to Lord Jamal, Brand Nubian, Public Enemy, you know, Those Spirit, Tribe Called Quest, De La Soul, Leaders of a New School. Exactly. You know, come on. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Oh yeah. So it was that conscious vibe. What do you think? What do you think? When did you see the switch, Brother Kenneth? When did you see the change? I'd have to say I saw the change when even the pop culture and stuff we're talking about me. you know, and what I have, you know, and more emphasis on the material things, you know, than we. It turned into me. You know, with the pop culture and the rap and stuff, you can see the transformation, you know, and the people we know. I know I'm preaching to the choir, but we know the people who put the money out there, and they're very selective with what they may put out there in pop culture.
Absolutely.
You know, because that thing that Farrakhan was preaching back in the 70s and stuff about subliminal seduction, that's real. That subliminal seduction has a whole lot to do with the selection of what's out there in pop culture, because it's still mind control. And a lot of people don't want to see beyond that, because a lot of people stuck like Chuck on black or white and ignore the gray areas. You know, ignore the gray areas. And Sister Doctor, I wrote a poem for a forum during that time that really spoke to about Kemet, why Kemet was necessary and what was going on. And this poem was written back in 1989, and it's still significant today. And if you don't mind, I'll share it with you.
Please do, Brother Kenneth.
This poem is entitled, They Don't Look Like Them. Playing with dolls that don't look like them, pink skin, stringy hair, Barbie and Raggedy Ann. They are honeycomb, mahogany, and complexion, yet they devote their affection to dolls that don't look like them. They grow up, dye their hair auburn, blonde, or red as a result of the lies about beauty that's been dancing around in their heads, wearing contact lenses that make their eyes look green or blue. If you tell them they hate themselves, they will say, that's not true. They can't hear the congas beating in their soul. They have no idea their African role. Their role models are Whoopi, Tina Turner, Diane Carroll, and Diana Ross. It's a shame that their African consciousness is lost, victims of the double consciousness that Du Bois had written about. Schizoid, no doubt. Praying to an image that don't look like them, black folk must be a bit tipsy, because that image of Jesus looked just like a hippie fresh out of the 60s. Black folks who spend their money with folks that don't look like them, causing black merchants to raise their prices high just so they can get by. Black frats and sororities call themselves Greeks. Don't they know that the Greeks were freaks? And besides, they don't look like them. The so-called great white race puts suntan lotion on body and face and spend millions in tanning salons and equipment so that they can look like niggas that don't look like them. They are black folks who won't pause for Kwanzaa, a black cause, but will put their babies on the knees of a Santa Claus that don't look like them, causing their babies to spend their money on clothing and toys of witness the smiles and joys of their offspring, while giving full credit to an obese, pale skin, Snow White, hair cherry cheek, blue-eyed Santa Claus who didn't do a damn thing for their offspring and don't look like them. They can't hear the congas beating in their soul. They have no idea their African role. Black folks flocking to neighborhoods that don't look like them, putting their babies in schools dominated by people that don't look like them or no one in the family. Black folks, black entertainers and athletes talk black, walk black. They even have black mamas. Yet they marry folks that don't look like them. They should change their names to Polly. They should change their names to Polly. They should change their names to Polly, because all they want is a cracker. To say this is not called for much bravery. Africans in America are the victims of change and images of psychological slavery. House niggas, field niggas. Why? Because we've been fed a big fat lie. And that's why little black girls are playing with dolls that don't look like them. They can't hear the congas beating in their soul. They have no idea of their African role.
Look, my brother Mitchell Guest, he said, Dr.maat, he said that brother got to get that fire sound. The chat loved it. The chat, they loved it. Look at it. They said, "Go ahead, brother." I'm just trying to show you the comments so I know that you can see it on the screen.
Give
They
thanks. Give
absolutely,
thanks.
they absolutely loved it. They said it was deep, deep,
They gonna make me stay. They gonna make me share another poem with them.
deep. Look, they said deep, deep, deep. They said truth and facts, truth and facts. They said
Give
bars.
thanks.
They said it was
Give thanks.
absolutely beautiful. Finger snaps.
Give
Yes.
thanks.
That was powerful. But like you said, it's still relevant. You wrote the poem and you said 1980. What, Brother Kenneth?
9.
1989. You wrote the book like what, 30 years ago? And everything that you said is still happening today. Brother Kenneth, I want to ask you this because we're getting ready to close out, but I want to ask you this. So is Kemet Asen, are you all still functioning? Do you all still have chapters? Does the Aset sorority, are they still functioning? Do they still have chapters? Where are these at? Where's the African centered fraternity today?
Okay. Basically, Kemet is still functioning. It's basically during the COVID, we've had like about 2 what we call crossings. They're online crossings, and so like we're hoping once the COVID subsides, we'll be able to have physical gatherings. But we've worked out something where it was something we were talking about for the longest. Is just getting a faction of our brotherhood to be like community for the community. We get brothers that we know doing the work in the community and let them be part of our fold. So when we have like just if I'm just here in Atlanta by myself and I see like 2 or 3 brothers that's like cool, we like kindred spirits and we can do some work together. Well, we want to make them a Kemet brothers, but they got to go through this online thing so they can come be abreast of certain rituals and things they need to know. So that's something that we're offering online to brothers, that they have to be selected by a brother or recommended by a brother. That's what we're offering right now at the moment. And yes, our set, I know they're doing some things. I can't elaborate on that, but again, I can put you in touch with some sisters for you to get that information.
Okay. And so when you say that, so I have a cousin who's currently attending Morehouse. He's a sophomore. So
Okay.
is it so I know you all because of COVID went online, but I know they started bringing students back. Like this was the semester
Well,
when
we're
they
not
started
doing nothing on campuses. Morehouse still won't let us come on campus.
Wow. Okay. Okay. So this is kind of like a I don't want to say word of mouth, but a brother has to be introduced and people, and then kind of go through it. Okay. So you all are on college campuses at the moment.
We're not on our campuses. We haven't been on campuses for a while. In fact, we haven't really been recruiting for a while. It was just a need for the temperament of where we are today in today's society. We said that it would be very stingy on our parts not to reintroduce our brotherhood and what it has to offer to young Black men. And so it's something that we are very open to sharing with young men. We were trying to insert back into campus communities. It's something that we're striving for as I speak to you. But that is our present circumstance as I speak to you as well.
So let me ask you this: those elders that were fundamental in starting the fraternity, they've transitioned, I'm sure, right?
No,
'Cause
ma'am, they're
they
still
have.
with us.
So those elders from that were there in the beginning, you said in 1987, was it 87 or 86?
87.
And they were elders back then. So you said they're still here. The Queen Mother,
And
she's still.
some of the, and let me say this, all of them were from academia. All of them was our college professors. And
Wow.
they're still teaching. All of them.
Wow. 30 years
All
ago.
of them are still teaching. And if I gave you their name, sister, you probably say I need some smelling salts.
Wow.
If I gave you their names, you would know each and every one of them.
Wow.
Let me put it like this. I was blessed. All of us were blessed to have those 4 elders guide us and steer us. As me and those other 9 brothers, but we wouldn't have been anything without our elders and without our Queen Mother. We wouldn't have been nothing without their guidance.
Beautiful. Well, you know, Baba and Wali Mubaruti was down in Morehouse. He
But
was there.
let me tell you something. At Baba and Wally me Baruti's,
Baruti.
we had a gathering in his garage for some of our brothers. We didn't have no place to go for some of our new recruits, and he let us clear up his garage to
Beautiful.
have a meeting with them. Baba Baruti,
Yes, and
my
Mama
man, and
and his
Wally
queen.
Baruti.
Yes, and
He's
Wali Mu.
hey, that brother he's part of our legacy.
Mm.
He's part of our legacy. That brother supported us when not too many others did. He saw
Beautiful.
something and he supported us. And I got to give him a lot of credit and praise. You know, brother, you know what in Waldemar Baruti, but I just want to throw that out there that he actually let us have what we called a AISH, a gathering to recruit new brothers in his garage.
Beautiful, beautiful. And his queen, I never forget his
Oh
queen.
yeah,
Mama
Sister
Yaba,
Mama
Mama Ya,
Ya,
yeah, Mama Ya
Sister
Baruti.
Mama Ya. My
Absolutely.
two of my favorite people.
Absolutely.
They have a lot of
Absolutely.
my art in their home. I'm an artist.
I can tell.
You
I
can
can
tell.
actually tell. Yeah, I can tell that you're artsy type of brother. And so, Brother Kenneth Zaki, we're gonna close out, but do you have any closing words for the listening audience? Any closing words for the listening audience?
I guess I do. I just want to say that COVID, Novid, these are some trying times that we're living in. And they say trying times are times for trying. And what we got to remember, brothers and sisters, regardless of what side of that debate you're on, we lost a lot of people. And where we are today, there's a lot of people that's mourning, and like Gil Scott Heron said, it's truly winter in America. But
Mm.
what we got to remember most importantly is that we are our ancestors' answered prayers. And it
Mm.
ain't no accident that we are who we are and we are where we are today. We prepared for this, y'all. We built for this. Just like our babies, how adept they are to like these electronics, they can take your phone and start doing stuff that you can't do. They built for that. And we
Mm.
built for this occasion. We are
Ashe.
our ancestors' answered prayers, brothers and sisters. Let's not forget a luta continua. The struggle continues. Promoja tuta shende. Together we shall win. Forward ever, backwards never. Thank you, Dr. Maat, for having me on your program. Thank you for the great work you're doing. You're so important to spread the word, give people the information, because all you're doing is spreading hope and it
Mm.
reassurance that we are who we think we are. We
Mm.
are our ancestors' answered prayers. So thank you so much for having me. I wish you much success in your endeavors. And anytime you call, just remember I'm down the hall.
I appreciate your words, brother. Let me drop a bomb for you. Now, I just want to say to you, Brother Kenneth, um, I salute you, brothers. From the bottom of my heart. When Brother Devin brought your organization to my attention, I was astounded. I said, "Oh my goodness!" I said, "This." It was like a dream come true. To have like an act, because I've been saying, "Where's our African Center fraternities and sororities?" Where? And he posted you all on Facebook, and my jaw dropped. I said, "This was everything that I would want. Your fraternity is everything that I would want for the youth, the male youth in my family to be a part of, my students to be a part of." And so I just give thanks for you, for the vision that all of the co-founders had in coming together to form, an African-centered fraternity. I give thanks for the courage, because that took courage, so you're going at the administration is not, and so that took courage, that took determination, that took motivation, that took perseverance. And so I just give thanks, Brother Kenneth Zaki, for what you and the brothers established. I mean, words cannot express my gratitude. And just to hear that you all have continued, you're like, hey, we're not on the college campuses, but we're still here. We're still here. So Brother Kenneth, I thank you. I can't wait to talk to those sisters who started the Asen sorority at Spelman. I can't wait to bring, one of those co-founders on to talk about that. Why did they start it, and kind of, and build with that sister. So please put me in touch with her. And how can people reach you? How can, parents who may say, I want my son in that fraternity, how can people reach you in order, or not even just reach you, but get in touch with somebody if they would like for their son to get involved with Kemetic Asen?
Okay, well, they can reach me like, let me see. They can reach me at kennethz.kz@gmail.com. kennethz.kz@gmail.com. Also, Sister Doctor, I would like to encourage folks like yourself, even we have so many people that have a wealth of information. The reason Kemet came into being because we wanted it to happen. So we've done it. I'll be more than happy to talk to anybody about anything regarding starting your own. I mean, because it don't have to be our model. It just had to be an alternative to that Greek stuff. Okay, so I encourage people to do it. Just get together with some more people and make it happen in your community. Even if it's not at a college, if it's at a high school, if it's at a church, it's somewhere we can do it. We got enough information and knowledge out here that you don't have to rely on me or what we've done. We did it because wasn't nobody else doing it.
Come on.
Okay, we used what we had and made it happen. Just like Mama Mary Bethune, she went to the junkyard and found some desks and school stuff to start her first classroom. We used what we had. And everybody y'all probably have more than I had, more than they had. So let's just do it.
Like you said, just
as long as it's an alternative to what we don't like, let's just do it.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Brother Kenneth Zaki, for coming on. I agree 100% with you. Like you said, let's just do it. If there's a need, do it.
That's
and get
right.
it done. Get it done by any means necessary.
Dr. Maat, what did Earth, Wind, Fire say?
They said a lot. So which song?
They said if there ain't no beauty, you got to make some beauty.
You got to
have
make
mercy now.
Ashe. Hey, family, join me back here tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The Read Book Club, we're going to discuss the 5th chapter of The Myth and Propaganda of Black Buying Power by Dr. Jared Ball. So I'll be back live tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. No, you don't need the book or have read the chapter in order to join. Just come on in and join us 7 p.m. tomorrow, Eastern Standard Time. Peace and Black Power.
Let's combat and fight back with maltracks. The war of the minds, they want control of the masses. And Common Core, they dumb us down in the classes. Without knowledge, we can't gain access. Build with the elders, take notes and write classics. We keep whining on the block, how it's gonna stop? Let's start supporting our own, make their supply drop. We buy stocks, then we buy blocks. Cause we know the truth and we tuned in to Dr. Maat.